do you ever find in your life, are you finding it as like an actual thing, or as Krishnamurti would say, do you find it in the actuality? I always was finding it pretty confusing, but a pretty funny word as well, in the actuality. That there are several persons in your head. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast, and then not for the first time, most likely you would say yes. Because why would you ever stay with a podcast like that if you wouldn't be at least slightly insane? Presumably far more than slightly. The voices in your head having identities and trying to live their life on their own, the life they're not having. Pulling you in different directions, while you can only go one at a time. You're on a diet. You reach for a jar of Nutella. You're not on a diet. You realize you're fat. You used to be on a diet. You are on a diet, but you stick to it. Which feels the best? The third scenario. Not because it's so good to be on a diet, but because you're true to the voice that you chose for the time being. So, if you want to get rid of the voices in your head, you may follow the spiritual teaching of Buddha, of some mindfulness spiritual teacher. You might go into some Hinduism if you like. You may try to get rid of the false selves. You may try to get rid of the false made-up identities, right? That's the goal. That's the goal. And the teachers you're listening to, the teachers you're reading tells you it is possible. You can get there. If you'll meditate enough, if you will let go enough, if you will suffer enough, you will get there. Do you know what strikes me? My greatest teacher was not even a person I knew personally, and was definitely not the famous person. He's basically the person, kind of in a way, behind this podcast, because I don't think I would ever find so much freedom in my thinking to ever say what I'm saying right now. Benjamin Smythe, that was also using a nickname of Jack Saturday, he said that it occurred to him once that the person sitting in the middle of the room on one of the spiritual meetings he has been attending to, the so-called enlightened person, whoever the fuck that guy is the basic reason why meetings like that are even possible. Because what if we would completely get rid of the word enlightenment or salvation, depending if you're into mindfulness more, or maybe more into Christianity. There are different words, they all mean the same crap. There is no Jesus on the mountain, and there is no Buddha. There are no enlightened teachers. There is no path to enlightenment. There is only this. Right? There's only this. How different our lives could be. So if you want to keep pursuing those teachings, maybe in some way, maybe you will get rid of your false selves, maybe you'll become enlightened. But the truth is that all of us are actually living with shitload of our false selves. Shitload of them. So many of them. Because our thoughts are so goddamn powerful that they are creating the illusion of identity in our mind. Alright? And it is, at the same time, they are real, and at the same time, it is so goddamn obvious they're not real. Right? But they feel so real. And they want to be acted upon. So here is something to try. Instead of following one of your gurus, Spend some time with your voices in your head and make some friends. Buy a couple of rounds. Dance a little. Go into some awesome orgy. Do it. Do it with all the voices, all the identities, all the characters in your head. Let them be if they want to be. Honestly, man. I don't think you will get rid of them in this way. But I know what will happen. I do know what will happen. And instead of this, what will happen? You will stop fucking suffering. You will stop suffering. You will let the children play. You will unleash the dragon. You'll be a pirate. You'll be a businessman. You will be freed from any diet restrictions, fat. Or you'll be this fit, well-built person, or whatever the fuck you want to be. Whatever is in your head, right? Whatever is in your head. Hannibal Lecter. And have some goddamn fun with it, because that's precisely what we've been doing as we were kids. That's exactly what we've been doing as we were kids. One of the earliest plays the kids are playing is like playing in the house. I'm a mommy now, I'm a daddy now. And this little kid that you would call dumb knows very fucking well that he is not mommy. But this does not stop kid from enjoying the process of pretending. I'm a mommy, I'm a daddy. It's such a cool play, So at some point we are growing out of this. I read this amazing book. It's so hilarious, honestly. I believe it is called 100 Games You Can Play in Your Head Right Now, or something similar to this. It's basically a book about how to lock yourself in a room and just play in your head. You're a pirate and you're on a mission, you know what I mean? Like, you're on a boat and the boat is sinking and stuff like that, right? So there are like example scenarios that you can play in your head, but basically there are no limits. You are basically writing the rules and just fucking enjoy yourself. Because you are playing those games anyway, but you are doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong because you are not enjoying it. That is the only thing you can do to spoil the game. Not enjoying it. There are no other rules than that. You don't enjoy the game. You don't enjoy it. And you don't have to be the same person every single fucking time. And you know that you are not. Have it ever happened to you that you made a promise to someone and then you broke it and you're like, oh my god, I'm such a piece of shit. But maybe part of you realizes that the person that made the promise is not the person that broke the promise. Play with it. Because suppressing those identities didn't do you any good, right? In order to suppress an identity, and the other identity is necessary, so you're always holding someone's side. Every single time you do it anyway. Whenever you play the game, I am not going to be attached to any of the identities I am having in my head. I am an immortal spirit. I am free. That is an identity. That is an identity that you gave the permission to rule over them all, and I am proposing to you a democracy instead of dictatorship. Take this into consideration. Let them all speak out. Whatever you feel like doing, give yourself the permission to actually do it. Play it out. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the process. Whatever games you believe that you shouldn't play, just make your peace with not playing them. That's it. But other than that, give yourself a lot of freedom, as much as you can, because there are some boundaries you wouldn't wish to cross. Our society is complex. There are some boundaries we established that shouldn't be crossed, because bad things may happen, okay? So you gotta be careful about that. But as much as you can, be a middle-aged accountant today, and be a gamer tomorrow, and be a pink emo girl the day after. Come on, the concept of gender is so fluid these days, you don't have to be ashamed. Honestly, and just allow yourself. All those voices inside yourself, allow them to express themselves, because that is the only thing they want to do. The expression. They will do it, and they will pass away. And that'll be it. No need for suppression. If you'll tell children not to cry, they will fucking cry. but they can also cry themselves to sleep. Don't take it as a babysitting advice, by the way, alright? This podcast is not serious, because I am not a serious person. There is this great story, I forgot who wrote it, but Jordan Peterson mentioned this story in one of his podcasts. The story about a little dragon. So the little kid is discovering a dragon living under his bed. The fuck, right? Weird shit. Some weird shit is going on. There's a dragon under the kid's bed. What the fuck? And so he tells mommy, but mommy chooses to ignore it. The whole story is about little kid trying to tell mommy about the dragon, and mommy is like, oh, that doesn't exist, I don't care. And the dragon grows and grows and grows and grows, and it grows so big that it's basically growing out of the house. You know, this is how big it is. It's bigger than a house. And so mom can't do the dishes because of the dragon, and she cannot hang the laundry because of the dragon. All this stuff because it's so fucking big, it just fills in the house. And then she decides to acknowledge it, and it shrinks down, and now it's a little harmless dragon. And the end of the story, when the mom asks the baby, it's not the other way around. Mom asks the baby, the little kid, why did it grow so big? The kid says, maybe it just wanted to be noticed. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, two things. First, don't take yourself too seriously. And secondly, be honest. Don't feed yourself with any bullshit about enlightenment, about freeing your spirit, if that is not your goddamn experience. What is your experience? Is it being fucking schizophrenic psycho. That is what we are. That is what we are, so enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Unleash the dragon. If you will choose to go on a spiritual path of trying to get rid of all your identities, at least have balls. At least have balls to be honest with yourself enough to realize that this is just another identity that you choose to play. One thing only. When the identity will become too heavy, you don't need to carry it anymore. You can choose any other, or don't choose at all. It's all up to you. But whatever you do, just have fun. Because it might just so happen that a little kid you've been back in the past knows far more about dragons than your adult ass knows.